the new Pope, Paolo Sorrentino's, I guess we'll say second installment of the
Yeah.
Lenny
Follow
Bernardo
up.
story.
Yeah.
Not quite it's not listed as a season 2, but
Yeah.
um,
Certainly a sequel though.
yeah, it was originally supposed to be season 2 of the Young Pope, and they kind of switched it up. And it we if anyone that's been following the podcast knows that we adored the Young Pope. Thought it was thoughtful and masterfully made and weird and visually stunning. Really couldn't say enough good things about it. We were very excited for the new Pope. We didn't get to talk about the drop. Kind of fell in like a weird date being out on Mondays for us to really review it at a good time. But kind of watching it through, I don't think it met the lofty standards of the Young Pope, if only because I think what I find most alluring and captivating about this show is when Jude Law is being Lenny Bernardo and kind of just stealing every single frame he's in. And I found some of the stuff with Malkovich to be a bit of a slog at times, and a bit redundant also, up until the last couple episodes. But when this show clicks, there really is nothing like it on television, in my opinion. And especially the last 3 episodes of this season, I thought were just masterful. How did you feel about the new Pope, the sequel?
Yeah, I agree. It from the jump, it really lives up to its name because it's not about Lenny. I mean, Lenny's present. Pius 13th is present, but he's in a coma literally for 6 of the episodes. I think that's longer than most people expected from the 9-episode season. I think that's a pretty safe thing to say. That being said, I loved the pilot, how they set up with a different new Pope, Francis the Second, or whatever his name was, and how they play for laughs a Pope actually practicing what the Catholics purport to preach in terms of poverty and charity and all that stuff. And then seeing just Foyello and everyone being like, fuck that. Let's get this fucker out of here. And then the show really quickly transitions to this whole new thing where, as you said, John Malkovich, the actual new Pope, titular new Pope, is the focus, Brannix. And I did not expect that character to have, there's a lot of melancholy going on with him. And I think they play that character really thoughtfully throughout the season because there's a lot of buildup going on. There's theme, like the motif with the millipede, and I liked that characterization, and I thought it was done well. But as you said, Jude Law as Pius is truly a scene stealer. Like once Pius wakes up, you just can't look away because the performance is just so tantalizing, and already having history with Pius from the first season, you just kind of love it. And I really hope Jude Law actually gets Emmy attention for this time. This would be supporting, limited series supporting, because he really is tremendous as Lenny. So, and you believe, I think it's important, you believe why he is so popular in the story, right? I really love the introduction of him having stands, the people with the sweatshirts.
Yep.
I thought that was a great touch. And as far as the side plots, I kind of loved all the nun stuff with the nuns going on strike. And I think a big part of that is that from the jump, the title sequence, the intro, is them kind of raving.
Yeah.
At night in front of the lit up cross. That was amazing. And the young Pope had the same intro the whole time with Lenny, of course, walking through the hallway playing the Devlin cover of All on the Watchtower. This season, what we actually see in the visual changes episode to episode. And when Pius wakes up, we get a new twist on the All on the Watchtower. In terms of title sequencing, it's some of the best shit I can remember in who knows how long. That was incredible. And then we also get just kind of funny, almost deleted scenes for the credits. You actually watch the whole credits because the credits are playing stuff. In general, the music cues in the show are awesome.
Yeah. You talked about just the credit sequences. The one I liked the most actually was when the mother of the nuns there, the midget, was when you see her just kind of like by
Yeah.
herself, like listening to it with tapping her foot, and then like
Yeah.
cuts away and it cuts back and
Awesome.
she's like going nuts. I loved that. Yeah, I think so. I've never been a huge Malkovich fan. I guess
Oh,
I'll
interesting.
throw that out there. I think I can understand the talent. I think just something about his like affect and personality never
He's
really like,
neurotic.
yeah, captured me. Obviously he's great at rounders and things like that. He has one of the best all time SNL like holiday skits where he's like reading the night before Christmas to all the kids and kind of like breaking
Oh.
it down like seriously. It's very funny, but
Sure.
I know he never really caught me. And then I think the way uh, he plays John Paul III in this, and
Yep.
uh, the way he does that is just so well done, and like you said, thoughtful. And the way that they use the characters in this show to say something about the church, but also just about kind of like humanity in general, like um, Brannick being this person who's kind of haunted by this his addiction and how that played into the death of really like one of the only people he's ever like felt loved by and connected to in his life, and how that isolated him from the only other people he ever really wanted to feel connected to.
Right.
And then how Malkovich and Cecil DeFrance play off each other and their budding relationship throughout, and kind of like the barriers of the role, and the choices you make in your life and what you're trying to um, what what you really want to get out of your life. It kind of becomes like the theme of it for Brannick in the end.
Yeah.
He obviously wants to just feel accepted and seen and connected, whereas Lenny is this person who wants to drive fanaticism, drive belief, drive
Right.
the message of God and the church, of like these it is powerful, and there can be power in believing and coming together. And I also really loved that as like a tie-in to end the season, like the interplay of like what is the line between being like this like saint, the savior, this like enigmatic figure, but then also that crossing a line to for people to do inexcusable and horrible things, to use that fanaticism
Right.
as a weapon. It's really thought-provoking stuff, and of course it's one of the probably the most beautiful shows on TV. They shoot like on the actual location, so they are actually in St. Peter's Basilica, actually in Venice for a lot of this stuff.
Right.
It's pretty amazing, like the setting up is. So
Yeah.
yeah, some really great moments.
For sure. And having like the Lenny's whole MO about fanaticism, having that come back and kind of be the focus of his reintroduction into the story was really great, because that harkens back to the young pope and kind of the big revelation of the young pope. The young pope is actually this super radical conservative.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was an amazing flip at the time, and seeing them still play it out now, I think worked awesomely. And of course, Sylvia Orlando is awesome as Voyello. Voyello, once again, is a character that like you love or despise depending on what's happening. And a big part of that's Orlando's, I think, performance in terms of how he plays off people and modulates his voice and whatever it might be. But another strong season for that character as well. So yeah, I mean, do you think we get another one? Like there was a long wait between these seasons. Jude Law was an EP this time around, so maybe he helped him. And if Paolo Sorrentino wants to do it again, because Paolo, he writes, directs everything. He's totally in control of this, like he is with all his movies. So I'd be curious to see if they take another direction. Diane Keaton was just in the first one. We assume Malkovich would not return for the third one. So maybe they try it again. I don't know. I'd say it probably doesn't happen, but I'd certainly welcome it, just because it as you said, it's just unlike anything else.
I mean, the thing about I think the reason I don't believe there will be another one, I guess, is Law seems to be the driving force of this, and it feels like it's a pretty clear ending that he's dead at the end of this.
Right.
That his exuberance as Pope and how much he gives of himself kind of led to him having to like make this ultimate sacrifice, and Voyello ends up being the Pope, and feels like a true return to form for like the politics and kind of what they're trying to drive at as like a criticism of the Catholic Church. They would go from these two very thoughtful men to this very like standard kind of
Yes.
Pope. And he even frames himself as that when he's selling himself. He's like, we've had these two radical ones, now we need that right down the middle, the one you can predict. um I don't think this show works without Law, because even the scenes when he wasn't really present in the show, when he would show up and you kind of see him like spectating as this like ethereal being or this like spirit almost kind of witnessing Brannick, or I'm forgetting the girl's name who went and was like top like basically prostituting herself out to those.
Oh, Esther.
Yes, Esther. Thank you. I always found that to be way more captivating than most of the stuff that was going on. So I think without Law, unless he's playing kind of like that overall like spectral presence, I don't think this show really works. So, and I think they probably all want to move on to more things. I imagine part of why Law was only in half the season was probably he's been doing a lot of movies. I mean, he was Dumbledore. Um, he's just been he's been in demand, so I can't imagine he wants to keep doing the same role. But maybe we'll see. I'd love to have him back.
Yeah, man. So I'm hoping with this extended shutdown for a lot of things, people give this show time. Heck, watch The Young Pope if you haven't too. You know, I mean,
Definitely.
it's it's rewarding to watch because just how unique it is, both visually and stylistically. And as you said, there's such a central, strong performance from Law that I just found it really satisfying once again. So big fan.
Totally agree.